I'm Courtney Terrio in Edmonton, and we are about 6.5 months away from the legalization of cannabis in Canada. And one of the outstanding questions is just how much should it cost? Well, this week, the federal finance minister laid out his vision for a potential sticker price.
By saying that we expect that the taxation will be roughly $1 and or around 10%, we're obviously imputing about a price of $10 a gram.
Canada's finance minister is coming to an agreement on a pot price this week, though they admit it isn't set in stone. It could drop if it's deemed too high to compete with the black market.
There's a word out there, but generally, I believe the black market is $6 to $10 per gram.
John Simon's Grenex dispensary in Edmonton has been in the works now for 4 years, preparing to dispense medicinal and recreational marijuana come July 1st. He's been in constant consultation with Health Canada and admits setting a market standard isn't easy.
We've got to make sure that there's enough for licensed producers to stay in business. There has to be enough for the government tax to make this, to fund the operations and regulation of this industry. And then it has to be fair for the consumer.
On the surface, the $10 price point isn't out of place when compared to legalized pot in the U.S., with most jurisdictions hovering around the $9 Canadian mark. Globally, Canada appears to sit in the middle of the pack, trailing Uruguay, but proving a far greater value than in Japan. Not surprisingly, given the price and quality, other markets are already calling for Canadian cannabis.
For example, Poland just legalized November 1st. So there's already people reaching out to us looking for product from these other jurisdictions.
But Grenex's focus will remain in Canada, and Simon isn't overly concerned about competition from the illegal market.
Moonshine, people aren't too willing to do it because there's some health risks involved with using a product that isn't regulated. ALCB liquor, it's a safer source, it's a trusted source, more consistent.
Still, the $10 per gram suggestion only flies if it makes business sense. While the federal, provincial, and municipal governments insist they won't get rich off of cannabis, Simon says he expects a return sooner than later.
There are a lot of unknown factors when a lot of assumptions that we make when we put those numbers together, but we're looking at probably 2 years before we can break even.
For City News, I'm Courtney Terrio in Edmonton.